A 7¼ gauge Sweet William steam locomotive, part 69, fitting the cab reinforcement strips around the edge of the footplate. This turned out to be a surprisingly difficult job. And finally, I painted the parts using etch primer. I would like to take this opportunity to wish all of my viewers, whether you celebrate it or not, a very Merry Christmas. The following is a short extract from a 3-part video series I made in 2021. As I don't wish to see any of my dinner guests sat at the table with pieces of roasted parsnips sticking out of their cheeks, I'm shortening every one of them, and it would appear that for a large parsnip the ideal length is 3 inches. But that rule is not set in stone because some of the parsnips are smaller than others. The general rule is with parsnips, the smaller the diameter, the shorter they need to be. Here I'm peeling another parsnip. I've edited the video to speed up the process. Eventually I end up with quite a few parsnips, all nice and clean and ready for cooking, and all more or less the correct length. Here I'm sorting them out, ready for quartering. I couldn't resist making a parsnip Stonehenge at this stage. And as I was doing this, I thought this would be a really good way to serve parsnips. Just cook them as they are and put them on a plate on the table in this position, parsnip Stonehenge. I was quite happy with my parsnip Stonehenge, but all good things have to come to an end. The time has come to quarter the parsnips. Once again I'm using the same knife that I've used throughout, and it's still sharp after all these years, so I'm being very careful with it, and as you can see it makes short work of shortening the parsnips. I'm showing this method of cooking parsnips for roasting them, but I'm not actually going to do that. So I didn't need to shorten them in the first place, but I wanted to show you how to do it, and the reason for doing it. In no time at all, every one of the parsnips is prepared, ready for cooking. I have in the past put parsnips around the turkey in the oven, along with the roast potatoes, but they never come out well. They're normally cremated and very difficult to eat. I put the parsnips into a pan ready for cooking, but then I thought about climate change. So instead of boiling them for 20 minutes, I thought I would use my pressure cooker to shorten the cooking time down to about 3 minutes. I think pressure cookers are really good things. Using exactly the same principle as a steam engine boiler, the higher the pressure, the higher the temperature. I think the safety valve on the pressure cooker is set to something like 15 pounds per square inch, which is enough steam to run a mammoth steam engine. The pressure cooker is in place on one of the rings and it's turned on. If you look, you can see the little red light. None of the other vegetables have been cooked yet, that won't be for a while. All I have to do now is use a hand blender to turn this lot into what you see here. Parsnip puree with some Jersey butter, very nice indeed. Whether you like parsnips or not, I really hope you enjoyed that. My life is not just about steam engines, I do actually do quite a lot of other things. This video, in common with most of the videos on my channel currently, is about miniature steam engines. And what I'm currently doing is fitting some reinforcement around the footplate of this 7¼ gauge locomotive to support the weight of the cab, which is substantial. There were some problems with the original holes drilled round the edge of the cab floor. There are far too many holes drilled in the cab floor. I think the builder must have had a drilling frenzy on that day. What I'm doing though is enlarging selected holes to allow for some optional clearance to make it easier to fit the cab when it's in position. I'm using a very small hole cutter, and this is really good quality. I have a set of these, and this one is the smallest. After drilling the holes, I deburred them using a deburring tool. But this proved to be difficult on some of the holes, so I used a large twist drill above and below to clean off the burrs. It's very important not to have any burrs on any of these holes. When I bolt the reinforcement strips in place, I want everything to be flat and very solid. I need to drill some smaller holes, and unfortunately the drill I wanted to use was a bit blunt. Here I'm using a small machine called a drill doctor to resharpen the drill bits. This machine is very cleverly designed and so quick to use. I always have it on the bench, not far away from where I'm working. Using this drill doctor is simplicity itself, and a while ago I made a special video all about it. This twist drill bit was very blunt, but now it's quite the opposite. Drilling this cab floor was difficult because it's quite weak and springy, very similar to a girlfriend that I used to have many years ago. Because the twist drill is freshly sharpened, it cuts through the metal with ease. A bit of a caution here, always be ready for the twist drill to break through. You need to concentrate, you can feel when it's about to break through the hole, and that is the time to remove the pressure. And definitely don't do this. I'm sweeping away the swarf using my finger, and as usual, some of it got stuck in my finger. But it gives me something to do on an evening, digging lumps of metal out of the end of my fingers, but I think it's not a good idea, especially if, like me, you are a keyboard player. Here I'm trying the deburring tool, but it's just too small for the job. I finished off the deburring as before with a large twist drill. I'm having to drill this second hole at a slight angle. I can't drill it straight because the locomotive's firebox is in the way. A couple of things to finish this section. Here is the best way to remove the swarf from the area you've been drilling on. And here is a shot of the type of twist drill which is ideal for deburring small drilled holes. All of the holes on these pieces of bar were drilled using the cab as a template, so I know they are in the right place. Here I'm measuring between the existing holes to drill 2 more. These holes will be used to fix the metal bars securely to the cab floor. I'm using a drill which is clearance size for 2BA. In this case it's 3/16 of an inch in diameter. I'm drilling these freehand, no centre drill is required. I just turn the piece of metal around and very carefully drill on the line that I've made on the metal. This is a very simple job, and I've drilled various holes around these pieces of bar where they're going to fit onto the footplate. This job is a pain, but the cab floor or footplate is just not strong enough to support both the cab and the rear of the weight of the water tank, which when it's full of water will be substantial. When I work on locomotives for customers, and this one sort of changed direction a bit during the rebuild, I always work on it like it's my own. That way I know it will be right. After many years of using the same countersink and resharpening it, I splashed out and I bought a fairly cheap Chinese set to see what it was like. Just out of curiosity, and it's fine. And now it's top tip time. I need to countersink this smaller piece of metal that fits at the front. Yes, I could carefully position it in the machine vise, or I suppose loosely position it in the machine vise, but this seems to be a very quick and easy way of doing the job. I'm using a Barco adjustable spanner to hold it. I'm always going on about how good Barco products are, and I've nothing to do with the company and there's no sponsorship. It's just such a good tool. In this case I'm using it like a small clamp. All of the countersinks are slightly deeper than I need them. I will illustrate the point with this countersunk bolt. I didn't want any chance of the countersunk bolt sticking above the reinforcing bars. The bolts were a little bit long, so as you can see here, I shortened them all. In this clip you can see how uneven the footplate is, but when the reinforcing bars are bolted in position, plus the bolts that hold the cab down, should make this structure a lot stronger. Here once again, using my freshly sharpened twist drill, I'm drilling yet another hole. There are far too many holes in this footplate and they are not my doing. I think the original builder drilled them in the wrong place, then re-drilled some more holes in the correct place. I suppose I'm just lucky that none of the holes I drilled in the supporting bars were in the same place as the incorrectly drilled holes in the footplate. I am enlarging some of these holes just for a bit of clearance. They are not perfect. But thankfully the holes are in the correct position in the reinforcing bars. In this clip, like the opening clip, you can see the principle of what I'm doing. The front part of the footplate is now very strong. I've written on the bars so I know which side they fit on. And just in case you're wondering, LR means left rear and RR means right rear. Now in the outer part of the workshop it's time to spray the parts with etching primer. I've roughed up these on the belt sander so they are nicely keyed for the paint and they should be okay. I painted the underside of the bars first because if you look at these small plastic boxes they have a lip at each end. so when I turned them over there wasn't much of a mark in the paint. This job has been quite difficult, not the painting of it, just the manipulating and drilling holes in strange angles on the footplate. And owing to the surgery that I had recently, I had to wait until that repaired. The paint that I've been using for this is the normal stuff that I get from a company called Autopaint Northern in West Yorkshire. This is by far the best self-etching primer I've ever used. It really does stick to the metal. Once again, I'd like to wish viewers one and all a very Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year in 2024. Stay safe, stay healthy. Thanks for watching, and I hope you found it useful. Please take the time to visit my Mainsteam Models website and click on the section of the website that says Video Playlists. And by doing that, you can find other videos that you may like to watch. And by using the playlists, you can actually watch the videos back to back.